everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this, and I'm so excited to talk about this incredibly important topic to me. I've been in this area for the last 4 years now, and I'm very excited to share this with you all. So, just a little bit about myself. Like Maggie very kindly introduced me, my name is Pragna Nidumolu. I founded an initiative called EcoTeens to spread awareness about sustainability and environmental practices. I am a former TEDx speaker, and recently last year, I was awarded the America's Top 18 Under 18 award by Congressman Danny K. Davis in Chicago, which was incredible. And I am a senior in high school right now in Virginia. So just a little bit more about EcoTeens and what we do. We want to have a platform for youth and bring them up from where they are and give them a way to lend their voices towards these environmental challenges and climate change overall. We have various initiatives as shown on the screen, but I'll get more in depth into those. So the Million Voices campaign, I'm trying to get 1 million signatures on this Million Voices campaign. The link is below. And this is just a pledge or commitment towards a better, cleaner future. The Green Stories is a podcast that I host where I interview various people from all across the world to get their perspective on sustainability because people have so many different perspectives coming from different places, different age groups, things like that. The Native Plants campaign is where I'm promoting the idea to plant native plants rather than invasive plants because these are better for ecosystems. Plus the Cap is another campaign that I have. If you didn't know this, with plastic water bottles, if you don't cap them when you recycle them, that cap doesn't get recycled along with the bottle. It gets thrown straight to landfill, and although it is a really small object, it still contributes a lot. So make sure you cap that bottle before throwing it away. And we have a global ambassadors program where people from all across the world are representing EcoTeens in their own respective areas so that they can be catalysts of change across the world. I have also hosted these Global Youth Sustainability Summits. I've done 5 so far, but here are just a couple. And this is where I have panels with people from around the world, and we talk about different topics that are pertaining to them in their respective fields. And the most recent one was about AI, which I'll touch on today as well, because that's a very new emerging technology that we can use for the betterment of sustainability. Here is a quote I think about daily. We have 10 years to save Earth's biodiversity as mass extinction caused by humans takes hold. We need to change our practices in order to make this world a better place. So starting off with what is corporate sustainability, there are 3 main aspects of it: the people, planet, and profit. So the people is the social part. This is keeping sustainability within a organization. So making sure you can keep your customers while also keeping your employees at the same time. The planet is what people think of most when you think about sustainability. It's the environmental impact that a company or corporation has on the planet. And finally, profit is economic. How can you have a sustainable economic system in order to keep that money flowing in and out? And this is one thing that corporations struggle with a lot, with balancing the people, planet, and profit of it all, because if they focus too much on the planet, then they're not getting enough profit. So that's something that a lot of corporations do worry about. So why is corporate sustainability important in the first place? It is crucial for long-term success of a corporation. So future-proofing, having sustainability now will make sure that your company will sustain throughout any challenges it faces in the future. It can also help with managing stakeholder expectations. Although one of the main things that stakeholders want is the profit, sustainability is a big thing that stakeholders are looking for now. So this is something to ensure that you are meeting those stakeholder expectations. And finally, collaboration and innovation. By incorporating sustainability into your companies, you'll be able to meet with other companies that also have the same expectations and goals as you do when it comes to sustainability. So that will invite more collaboration and newer innovation. And obviously, the biggest thing is that environmental impact. Ignoring corporate sustainability leads to detrimental environmental impacts and also reputational damage. If companies are being way too wasteful with their products or their supply chain, then that can lead to a lot of reputational damage, as we've already seen before. So here are just a few statistics of um, Gen Z in corporate sustainability now. 86% of millennials and Gen Z consider these environmental commitments when deciding where to work. And this is an idea that I try to push a lot with the people around me because it's so important that us as consumers and also future people in the workforce that we make sure to choose the right corporations to work in because that'll force these corporations to be more sustainable and lend more to us. The total value of sustainable investments has reached around $35 trillion, which is incredible. But considering just how many businesses there are in the world and how how much we need to still go, we need to expand this. And with renewable energy, over 250 of the largest companies had set targets to source 100% of their electricity from renewable resources. This is also incredible. However, this does lead to something called greenwashing, which I'll explain again later on in this presentation because that's also a very important term to understand because some of these companies say that they're sourcing 100% of their electricity from these renewable sources, when in reality, that is not exactly their goal. These are some actual companies that have changed the way that they've done their um, marketing or their actual products. And this was really interesting to me when I was researching this. So Interface, which is a global flooring manufacturer, they cut their waste sent to landfills by 96%, which is so much and so incredible, so inspiring. Puma, which is one of the biggest athletic brands, introduced the Clever Little Bag, which uses 65% less cardboard and saved 275 tons of plastic, which is also amazing. This is such a big commitment to sustainability, and it's great to see. And finally, Patagonia launched a worn wear program, and this encouraged customers to buy and sell used Patagonia clothing. It's kind of like thrifting, and it's really interesting how such a big brand is launching a program like this, and it's also great to see. So obviously, there are a lot of challenges that companies face in pursuit of corporate sustainability. One big thing is short-term profit orientation, where companies choose to prioritize that short-term profit goals by not prioritizing sustainability, right? By continuing what they're doing and not taking this into consideration, they'll make more money in the short term. But by integrating sustainability into performance evaluations and motivating employees to prioritize sustainable practices, they'll integrate it more into the company by making sure that they're not losing profit, but they're also gaining in the sustainability aspect. Resource constraints are another big thing where a lot of mostly smaller companies don't have the resources to implement these big changes into their businesses. So, switching to 100% renewable energy isn't something that everyone will be able to do with the resource they have. But a lot of organizations are giving grants and partnerships to these businesses so that they're able to have these resources to build up a more sustainable company. They can also seek these external funding opportunities from these places that are able to support these sustainable initiatives. Competitive pressures are another big thing because a lot of corporations don't see sustainability as a competitive advantage. They see it more as a detriment to what they're doing. but they can emphasize sustainability as a competitive advantage instead of a detriment because it has so many more benefits than it does harms. It has cost savings, enhanced brand reputation, and improved customer loyalty. Because, as I said before, people are looking more and more towards the sustainable commitments that these companies are having. So, by completely integrating it within an organization, they'll be able to keep those customer loyalties. Another big one is greenwashing. This is where companies lie about their sustainable commitments. And this has been done so much before. It's being done now. And it is a horrible, horrible thing that's happening. But some companies that do actually have proper sustainable practices still get blamed for not. So to combat that, they can seek these third-party certifications that are very readily available and independent audits to validate these sustainability claims that they have to prove that they really are committed to this. Complexity scale is the fifth one. It's very tough to have sustainability at such a large scale when you're just starting out a business, and it's hard to prioritize it. But if you integrate it within that supply chain and collaborate with your suppliers, that can help you improve your sustainability practices. And finally, the last one is investor pressures. It can be hard to meet the expectations of investors by also integrating sustainability into your company because, like I said before, profit often comes above sustainability. But engaging with investors and having sustainable focused investors and incorporating their sustainability concerns into your company strategies will help with this. So, like I mentioned before, greenwashing means to have false eco-friendly claims and providing false information regarding how a company produces their products and if they're environmentally friendly or not. So, according to a survey by the Harris Poll for Google Cloud, 58% of high-level executives in global corporations admitted that their companies engage in corporate greenwashing. And just in North America, that number is 72%. And like I said before, considering just how many businesses there are in just Northern America, just the United States, 72% is such a large number, and that is not okay to be lying to your entire consumer base. So obviously, like I said before, one big way to combat that is to get the third party certifications to prove that you are not greenwashing. Renewable energy is another big thing. I think a lot of us know renewable energy, windmills, water, things like that. Very, very useful, but obviously there's a lot of things stopping businesses as well. The benefits of renewable energy, one, of course, the environmental impact, less greenhouse gases into the air, less global warming. Resource conservation is a big thing that can help companies. You know, you're not losing as much of these non-renewable resources because renewable energy is obviously renewable. You can keep using it, and that helps conserve resources. Um, in the future, you have that energy cost stability. You're not constantly worried about needing to power your data centers and things like that by using renewable energy because it constantly keeps going. And that also ties into energy independence because you're not relying on a third party to be supplying that energy for you. But there are a lot stopping businesses from making this happen. The initial high investment of buying these windmill farms or other renewable resources can be tough, but you can find ways around it through financial incentives from outside companies. Performance risks are another big thing. When you first switch into renewable energy, it can be tough to trust it once you're so reliant on this non-renewable energy. And one good way to combat this is demonstration projects where you have miniature versions of these big windmill farms and other sorts of renewable resources, and you can just test it out for in a ratioed smaller area. So then you can see how it actually work with your company. And another thing is energy needs exceeding renewables. So maybe these renewable resources can't supply that much energy that you need to your company. But by taking energy efficiency measures, you can get around this as well. So, as a person in Gen Z, and as someone who's advocating for corporate sustainability so much and wanting to be part of this, I have four main asks of the big corporations. Net zero emissions, which means 100% transition to renewable energy. Inclusive decision making, which is a big part because Gen Z is not being included in these corporate sustainability discussions, which is really bad because this is our future. This is what we are going to be living in. And if we don't have a say in what's going to happen, then this is not a future that we're going to be looking forward to. And finally, one big thing is full transparency. It's so important that companies are fully transparent with their what their emissions are, what their goals are for the future, what they're actually planning on doing. Um, I had an internship a couple years ago where I was researching these big companies and I really looked deep into what they release to the public about their sustainability, um, what they're doing with sustainability, and it's shocking to see how much they actually say out in public versus what is in these huge sheets of information that nobody's really going through. So having more transparency to the public about what you're doing is so important so that we can actually see what these companies are doing and also so that we can choose what companies to buy from. Sorry about that. Okay. So, just a little bit about Gen Z and why we're even a part of this conversation and why we need to be part of these decision-making boards. So, we make up around 20% of the population now, and according to the National Retail Federation, 72% of Gen Z are likely to shop from a brand that they follow on Instagram. This is one way that companies can reach out to us and tap into our wallets and, bring us into their consumer base. And also 58% of Gen Z prefers to have their purchases come in eco-friendly packaging. This is kind of what I was talking about before, where Gen Z is starting to look more into sustainable, ethical practices of companies before buying from them or working under them. So there's a lot of things that companies can do to attract us into their companies because I believe that we have so much to offer, especially with our new technological ideas as well. So by 2030, Gen Z is expected to make up 30% of the next workforce, which is around one third. Gen Z values what companies stand for, such as their sustainable efforts, over salary. So we look for more ethical, sustainable practices over what we're going to make. And that's such a big thing that these companies need to understand and value. And they also need to be more authentic and transparent with us because that's another thing that we look for. So, in less than a decade, we will inherit the corporate strategies and leadership positions that are available today. And this is important because we need to understand what is actually happening in these companies before deciding to work with them. And I believe that companies need to be more transparent with us because, again, like I said before, a large percent of Gen Zers are more likely to pay for these sustainable products. So this is a big way to tap into our wallets. So there's a lot that Gen Z can do to be a part of corporate sustainability. And I think this is a question that a lot of us ask ourselves because it's hard to prioritize profit over, ethical considerations over profit. So these are just a couple things that we can do on a smaller scale. So consumer choices are a big thing. Understanding what companies you're buying from, where you're putting your money towards. If if you have two products, one is more expensive, but they're more eco-friendly, they're more ethically sourced, choose that over the one that might not be as ethically sourced and might be a little more unsustainable and not eco-friendly. Employment choices are another thing, choosing where to work. We have so much power over our employment choice, right? Like if we get offers for multiple different companies, choosing the one that's actually sustainable, something that will actually make a difference in the future. Advocacy and activism is another really, really big thing. As we see now, sustainability is a growing trend. People are starting to look into it more, and it's becoming a more important thing to people. And initiatives like EcoTeens and we see so many initiatives now about sustainability, but specifically corporate sustainability and bringing in youth. We need more initiatives like that to spread more awareness and bring more people into this. Finally, Gen Z can bring so much when it comes to AI and their tech savviness because through AI, there's so much we can do with sustainability. Right now, it definitely is a little more of a harm than help. However, by using AI to promote sustainability and, optimize our sustainability in supply chain management and things like that, we have so much to bring to the table with this, especially with this new digital world. There's a lot that corporations can do as well. Education and awareness is a very big thing. By bringing in representatives into schools and educating people one-on-one, that's really important because that's not something I had in school growing up. We didn't really hear a lot about sustainability. It was just a word thrown around, and I never truly understood what it meant until I did my own research. And I think it's so important for more people to learn about this. So if people actually can go into schools and teach people one-on-one about this, that would be incredible. And since I'm going to college next year, I would love to see more sustainability focused internships because looking right now, there's not many, and this is such a good way to bring people in and help them understand just what corporations can do when it comes to sustainability in the future. Shadow boards is one thing that I really want to touch on because this is one big way that corporations can bring in Gen Z into corporate sustainability. So on shadow boards, on these board meetings that these companies have, there are such a small percentage of Gen Z or just diversity in general. And it's so important to have shadow boards where Gen Z can go in or just younger people can go in and shadow these boards and understand what is being put on the table and contribute our own experience to it. Because although we are young, although we do have less experience than these people might have, we still have so much to bring to the table, and we demand a seat at these boards because we have so, so much to offer. And by not including us in their discussions, they're choosing a future for us that we don't have a say in. So it's really important that we're a part of these as well and that they're inclusive with us. Also, as I mentioned, I'm going to college next year, and having workshops on our campuses would be really, really helpful and really important to me because this would help us and college students truly understand what they're being set up for when they go into their future careers. And I know my college friends right now, they see a lot of corporations come to their colleges to advertise their own businesses. And by having these sustainability workshops, they would be attracting a lot more Gen Z because, as I mentioned, we care a lot about what their sustainable impact is. So I would like to leave you with this. We demand a cleaner and sustainable business environment, for the future planet belongs to us all. Let us collaboratively shape the decisions today, ensuring a prosperous legacy for generations ahead. Because if not us, who will do it? And if now, when? And this is from all of Gen Z, and this is truly a demand that I hope to see comes in the future.